Welcome everyone to another Apple macOS update, or if you want to say it run, but not really run. I wanted to point out specifically, although we had this amazing successful live stream a minute ago, I wanted to say this is really not how you release an operating system. So although, because this Catalina, also the names, I said this before, I really hate the stupid names. Nobody knows if you talk in a year or two with normal people, nobody knows if Mojave came for Mojave before El Capitan, before Catalina, before whatever. But so anyway, I find this also hilarious that they don't call this macOS 10.15 and the stupid code naming stuff, which again, it doesn't sort, right? You can't, like, unlike Android stuff, which at least was alphabetically. Anyway, just a small thing. And also the stupid picture, which by the way also is a default background picture, in my opinion looks quite ugly. It's like a unsuccessful one-man home Linux distribution would do it, like Temple OS or something. And anyway, but whatever, that is only the small nitpicking. The bigger is that not only, so Apple broke a lot of stuff, and actually intentionally, right? So they intentionally have removed 32-bit support, which in my opinion was totally unnecessary. The release is compressed download 8 GB, which certainly is quite hefty. And whether it is 8.5 or 7.5, actually I find 8 GB quite large, but whatever, just a couple of 32-bit support libraries certainly don't make such a big of a deal. I personally don't need 32-bit at all, not even for our aging ExactScan application. We didn't had any 32. Actually, you could not even submit builds to the App Store with 32-bit for quite a year or so, I guess. So our app was already, I said this multiple times, our ExactScan stuff was already 64-bit for over a decade, basically forever. So, but what actually shocked us, so they intentionally, so not only did they remove 32-bit support, which broke plenty of applications and people who had stuff like old games, like old software, maybe a Photoshop, maybe an Acrobat, all this not to paid advertisement fun stuff people have. So they intentionally broke it. And on top of this, we were affected mostly by threading, which our good old code that worked amazingly for 15 years. And then Apple came along and like, okay, we maybe overread that this stuff wasn't thread safe. So that was a little bit fault on our part, but hey, it worked for 15 years. Didn't really have too many problems. And usually this was just properties, right? Like getting some property in the background thread, like button like get state or like state of a button and other configuration stuff. So Apple intentionally has broken a lot of stuff that previously just worked or accidentally worked or like usually worked with not thread saved in 2019, amazing UI, previous video. But so they not only 32-bit, but also they intentionally inserted a lot of assertions and intentionally invalid inconsistent state exception stuff, applications. And so they knew they broke a lot of stuff, and yet they released it. So first of all, we were shocked that Catalina really wasn't the better. I'm not the greatest fan, but it didn't even work the most amazingly. We were shocked. If that would be my company, if I would be there, Steve Jobs or Tim Apple, I would not have shipped this. This was for sure not ready. And what is even more shocking, in this is that Apple automatically loaded this on the Macs. Although it is a major update, make no mistake, this is a major update, 10.14 to, what was it, Mojave, to 10.15 Catalina, there you see stupid naming. It is a major update where they have intentionally broken a lot of stuff, and yet they automatically push it to the people without even asking. They have, I've never seen this, so maybe I just didn't do the automatic updates like normal people do probably, or additionally they welcome in the audience by the way, or additionally they comments in the audience is not ready either. It's really really bad. Yeah, thank you for agreeing. And so I have no problem with breaking stuff. So we didn't even need 32-bit, not at all. So I don't even, many people, actually many of the Apple fans are raging over the 32-bit support because they have old scanner software and now they need to buy something fancy and new like ExactScan. Don't delay, try it today. Video sponsored by Extra Code. And or they have games and stuff. But for the most part, what is really unacceptable is that Apple is pushing it to the people automatically. I did not believe when my brother told me, by the way, do you know that my Mac tried to install Catalina this morning? Like, what do you mean tried to install? Like, yeah, there was an update loading and it took so long, and then I looked on it and then I saw it's 8 GB, and when I looked it said macOS Catalina, and then I thought, no, I don't really want it, and cancelled it. Like you seriously want to tell me that your Mac automatically loaded this? And in the meantime, I had it hard to believe my brother when he called me. But in the meantime, we have several customers that are so pissed that they turned their Mac on in the morning. They wanted to do their work, like in a hospital, and lawyers and such, and all the other people who scan documents. Don't delay, try extract scan today. And they were outraged that they couldn't get your work done. And there you see, I'm not alone. And a lot of our customers are at least affected in they urgently need exact scan, or they urgently need the update that is not in the App Store because Apple broke so much. And when you take a look, here, I opened here already. So first of all, public service announcement. Stuff is so buggy here. Even the greatest fans on Mac Rumors have here an article, public service announcement. Michael Tsai, developer of Eagle Filer and the spam sieve plugin for Apple Mail on Mac, has written a blog post warning macOS users about potential data loss in Mail when upgrading to Catalina. According to Tsai, also, so yeah, yada yada yada, whatsoever, messages can get lost, so on and so on. And also in previous times, people usually advised, well, at least professionals like us advised, don't install the .0 version. I personally never would have done work with any Windows or Mac .0 version. Usually my advice as a professional always at least wait for the .1, where the vendor at least gets a little bit of their act together and fix the latest and greatest of their bugs. But no, not in 2019, not at Apple. Whether you want it or not, you get it automatically loaded. And then when you take a look here, other people agree in the comments. And so here, in their opinion, Catalina for a couple of hours compared to Lion, Mavericks, the newest one I run, High Sierra, it is as beautiful as useless. Finder syncing UI sucks big time. I don't even see anything what's on my iPhone, unlike I was able to in the bloated eye, yada yada. Then here, totally agree. For the first time ever, Apple, this is pens. The performance of this beautiful iMac has been reduced to less than Windows 10, and there you have it. 2019, the hardcore, diehard Mac fans compare the performance to less than Windows 7. You heard it here first live on YouTube. And that is saying something according here to those comments. And half of their apps won't work. Yeah, 32-bit removed, and amazing new assertions for internal inconsistency for calling UI stuff in. Threads on highly multi-threaded Intel CPUs in 2019. They have lost their iSCSI driver for their remote printer. Is it iSCSI or whatever? Anyway, even and so on. And so this was only in the middle. Of course, it starts here with the beginning. And just so if you were thinking Macs or whatsoever, you want to migrate from Windows to Mac or something, better choose Linux, Desktop Linux 2019, especially on an SGI Octane. Certainly totally amazing. Pretty meh here. So first comment, pretty meh release from user experience point of view for me as a power user, and I use it for work heavily. I'm not really interested in dumped down iPad apps on the Mac, nor the explosion of iTunes, which he never used, into multiplays in his dock, though they are easily removed. The screen time is irrelevant to me. I don't get why adults need something that basically parent guidance tool to control themselves. Yeah, I also not. Also, fun fact, in the other live stream, Louis Rossmann said just yesterday, he is micromanaging his workflow. I don't do this at all. I would probably totally get depressive. So you see, but I can't tell you how you should do your stuff. I personally don't like micromanaging my day. Louis Rossmann even said he puts there like drink water, like fix a Mac, forum, shipments, whatsoever, drink water. I find this crazy. If I'm thirsty, I just drink something. Also, if I would micromanage this, like 8 o'clock in the morning, do the T2 open source updates, 18:15 answer all the more high priority emails that someone else didn't take care of, like requires CTO attention, and so on. and all the fun stuff. You go like, and then 9 o'clock deal with Apple's App Store, upload crap review nonsense. I would get depressive probably. But I can't speak for you, right? Do whatever works for you. Like it works for Louis Rossmann, that's amazing. I probably would get depressive if I would sit the whole day and it's 9 o'clock. No, I need to drink coffee. I rather just do, or maybe it's not the best business management, but I rather to not get too depressive with this Apple stuff. I rather, if this Apple stuff gets too depressive, then I turn to my T2 open source VM and do a couple of build fixes or something just to increase my mood. Or if the bullshit becomes too much bullshit, then I take the SGI Octane and take it out for a spin or something. So yeah, so no micromanagement for me, but maybe it works amazing for you. Let's see comments in the audience. Welcome Deterred, welcome Christian. Personally, I haven't had issues with Catalina. I don't have major issues, but I have recurring issues. So forever on my Retina MacBook Pro, I have the issue. So I have peak bugs. Also, I had peak bugs on iOS, for example. Speaking about my brother, I couldn't update my brother's contacts. And they always came back, right? So I deleted his telephone numbers, his old ones. So they accumulated 5 old telephone numbers and I deleted them like 20 times and they always came back. And then after like 6 months, I didn't, and maybe it didn't even save the new number. So there you see peak bugs in 2019. You can't even edit contacts sometimes. And the result was I took this out and like wanted to call my brother, like, why are these numbers all there and which is the latest? With the result, the latest wasn't even in there, although I put it, like saved it already 7 times. And then I only got this fixed by removing these numbers on a Mac and then it synced to the iPhone. Otherwise, there you see iCloud in 2019 doesn't even sync properly. And anyway, it's hilarious. I have a couple of more peak bugs. So for example, this tracking rectangles for a lot of stuff. For me, with the external 4K high resolution display on my Retina MacBook Pro, the tracking rectangles for the mouse stuff are often off. So I have it sometimes hard to use a finder or even like navigate the columns for filing. Like change the size because the tracking rectangles are not at the right position. And I have the same with iMovie. So when I edit a video, sometimes I can't like edit stuff because the tracking rectangles, like where you can click, are off by some scaling stuff. And then I need to open the Mac, disconnect the display, connect it on again, close it, and then eventually the screen high DPI scaling crap gets its act together and updates all the screen coordinates. I have this bug I have also forever. By the way, this bug, this tracking rectangle, you would think by a company who like invented the UI and windowing and stole the mouse from Xerox PARC and stuff. They have mouse stuff working, but this tracking rectangles, I said this before, they are really a piece of garbage in macOS. To the fact, even in ExactScan, we don't use it. When we need tracking rectangles for moving a selection in ExactScan, we have only one tracking rectangle because they are such a pain to work with. And so we have only one large tracking rectangle for the whole window that has mouse tracking for selection. And then we manage the selection ourselves, like this handles to drag the selection, because otherwise it doesn't really rely. Even in our small unsuccessful scan application, doesn't even work reliably. We manage it ourselves. Yeah, Dieter, thank you for relaxing. Welcome everyone. Hope you're doing fine and having fun here with this amazing stuff. Here even Apple Watch password authentication is super inconsistent. For example, it doesn't work in Safari autofill. So yeah, even the most, so it's not only me, like it's not like crazy Linux guy with his fancy Octane or something is telling you macOS is not amazing. On Mac Rumors, with the most diehard Mac fans, stuff is not amazing. Possibly the first OS since Lion that he has not been excited about, means that actually removed features from music and iPhone. Also, I didn't want to Google it now, but I saw there were some people who say the new music, the iTunes, that also iTunes, right? For a decade, people complained like iTunes is a lagging, bloated pile of garbage, and they finally split this, what people demanded for a decade. Now, of course, with splitting, they removed some features because feature removal is the new 2019. And I saw here some comments who said this new music app is like a piece of garbage. I don't use it because desktop Linux. But people said here like this doesn't work, that doesn't work, the syncing, this, like they ripped CDs back in the day and the cover artwork is lost. So I'm not making this. There's comments here somewhere straight from Mac Rumors. What is here? Best change for me, can't use his Mac Mini, can't even downgrade properly to Mojave. It's probably time to finally jump ship. Notes not syncing anymore. Same thing with iOS 13 and iPadOS. Turns out to be iCloud service delay issue. Yeah, also didn't sync really for me. And for me, it didn't sync for 6 months until I deleted it on Mac. Basically nothing new. MacBook Air hung at setting up your Mac at 45 minutes. Also for me, I installed the bloody beta. Even that ruined my Mojave partition. I even lost some YouTube video raw data in this process because it doesn't have the backup of my test partition. So even for me, installing the freaking, what is it, even Catalina beta 10 or what this was live on this channel here some months ago didn't even work for me. Man, this update is wrong with danger. I'll pass. They let me go through all my apps without 32-bit. Like, I'm not lazy. Good to know Apple has such confidence in me. Poor fools. Not one of Apple's beta updates from the look of things. Seems like most people are having trouble updating than usual. And yeah, people, they removed 32-bit, they broke a lot of other stuff, and yet they automatically, how can they automatically load this? And if they offer this update, like a little bit, like, hey, bing, bing, do you want to update to Catalina? Okay, fine. But on the launch day, they forced people, normal users who have not a clue about anything, force update this on the launch day. I have no words for something that everyone said is too broken, that everyone said is disappointing, where they intentionally removed 32-bit and caused a lot of UI issues, like here on this channel, even with our don't delay, try exact scan today software. And I have no words. This is not how you release an really not. I mean, this is how you release some unsuccessful one-man Linux like ours. Like, but hey, even we test our release on this Ultra 5 and SJ Octane before releasing a fine image. So also in other news, Mac shipments down in Q3. Amid overall worldwide PC market growth, Apple's worldwide Mac shipment were down in the third quarter of 2019, according to a new preliminary PC shipping estimate shared this afternoon by Gartner. During the quarter, Apple shipped an estimated of 5.1 million Macs. I mean, who is even still buying this lockdown, soldered SSD, broken keyboard pile of something? And market of marking a 3.7% drop in shipments. Apple's market share also declined slightly, dropping from 7.9% to 7.5%. Yeah, and thank you very much, Apple. We spend a great percentage of our time making amazing scan applications and OCR and PDF recompression with our not so successful Linux distribution. For quite some time, helping you professional users to get some professional stuff done, and to thank us, you don't approve our apps, you take 30% of the profit, and you build Macs that even we don't want to buy anymore, that are so broken that normal people don't want to buy anymore. That is an amazing support for your developers and customers. It is amazing. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you learned something. I think we mentioned all the major points, but this is certainly not how, in my opinion, but what do I know? I'm maybe a little bit of a professional, but maybe what this is, I don't know. This is not how professionals release an OS. I have this is really, it stings. It stings from too many bugs, too rushed. This is exactly, you have a time frame, you release it in the time frame, and there are too many bugs, and you release it anyway. And then it's auto loading it to the people. I have no words. Yes, I disabled it in the App Store, but anyway, because we have this existing customers, you see we are too user friendly. Also my voice. I disabled it in the App Store because it certainly, of course, we had angry emails, right? I didn't disable it immediately because my hope was, like, usually we got it approved in a couple of days. And so on the launch day, I still left it. And by the way, we sold quite a number of licenses on the launch day, right? And then, of course, every one of those wrote us email, hey, you piece of pile of garbage software, it doesn't even work. How can you sell a software in the App Store that doesn't even work? It's like, excuse me? Apple is not approving the update. We are very sorry for the inconvenience. Please have here the site loaded update. Please put it somewhere on the Mac. It will just work amazingly. But of course, everyone blames us. sometimes I even write to customers, by the way, as you're right so friendly for us, have you considered contacting Apple for your problem caused by your macOS Catalina update? Maybe everything is amazing with our software and just Apple broke a lot of stuff. Thank you very much for contacting Apple support first. Yeah. Tim Apple release it. Yeah, ship it. Ship it award. They needed their ship it award. But yeah, anyway, we have some customers there, and I think it would only be fair if we get it approved to certainly release this, because, but there you see also the other thing with the App Store that I said before, we can't really have a real update plan there for the customers. So it's also a little bit unfair that we have some 7-year-old customers and some 7-day-old customers. And for those who purchased it the last weeks, it certainly would be fair to get this 99% working update. Although it kept, also the fun stuff is, first Apple said it's crashing, which I couldn't reproduce. I mean, yeah, it could be. It could be that it crashed. Maybe they tested on the 32-thread cheese grater that I don't have yet and will not buy anyway. Maybe, but we could not reproduce it. I also don't have an open crash with a customer, so it is possible it crashed for them, but yeah, whatever, YOLO. But it doesn't change that this release is much better and should get to the users. Also, in the latest update, Apple didn't say crashing anymore. They only said they want to see a video, which, what the heck. Anyway, so if you're working on your hobby OS, like something, whatever, don't copy this, not professionals, be a real professional, test the stuff before you ship it, don't force it to the users. And also, my recurring theme on this video, maybe more amazing operating systems. By the way, fun fact, I ask Siri, so usually I don't really use Siri, but when I sometimes use Siri, the few things I use Siri for is Siri call my wife, and even Siri call my wife, no, actually I say FaceTime audio my wife. So Siri FaceTime audio my wife, even that Siri only gets correct 90% of the time. I said this before, so 10% of the time it's calling random people like Mohammed, Shavik, something, whatever, and which fun names I have in my contacts. And so how good is a speech assistant that you need to babysit and need to have a button on the cancel now button if it's calling random people? And then just because of curiosity, being a professional, I wanted to test this Siri on the Mac, and just I thought, yeah, let's try some random stuff. I tried on Catalina. I told my Siri on the Mac, hey Siri, switch on dark mode, and the only thing Siri said is can't do that. So yeah, in my opinion, the Siri stuff is, as far as I've seen, mostly dialogue scripted system, like some keywords like call, contact, call this, FaceTime audio this. And if there is, it probably, in my opinion, there you see this artificial intelligence is only skin deep. And if it, as far as I've seen in my use, it's just locking on those keywords. For example, if you say some random garbage like FaceTime, wash my car, something, my wife, it will still FaceTime your wife and ignore the wash my car or other random garbage in between. So in my opinion, a total dumb, old-fashioned scripted script tree system of set a reminder, this and that, totally dumb in my opinion. And if you say something that's not scripted, like also how can turn on dark mode not be in the vocabulary of actions that Siri understands? I mean, I only wanted to test it, but I tweeted this if you're interested in this random stuff. Usually when something doesn't work on Mac, I usually tweet it, so there you find a tweet there about this. Don't make this up a couple of days ago. So yeah, and this is also a real artificial intelligence is different. Real artificial intelligence is if this stuff could learn, and not be such a hard scripted system of keywords. And if this real artificial intelligence could, like, hey, computer, turn on dark mode, and this thing would say, I don't know how to do this, and said, here, dark mode is just this thing. Said, okay, fine. And then you tell us the second time, hey, computer, turn on dark mode, and then it say, yeah, of course, sure, here is dark mode. That would be artificial intelligence, in my opinion, but maybe my professional expectation is a little bit higher than Apple's. And also, if we want to advance in this, so also fun fact, if you want to build something amazing like next-gen artificial stuff, then certainly less hard-coded, scripted, and more like real artificial intelligence would be amazing. And operating system-wise, this is certainly not something I would use, like this Catalina with sandboxing and dump down and stupid stuff. And this is why this channel and discussing the future and probably soon doing more microkernel. macOS not being microkernel, it's some hybrid, but it's a useless pile of pseudo microkernel hybrid stuff. And stuff is still crashing, certainly, and also not convinced that sandboxing, in my opinion, mostly. So how did we get to sandboxing that Apple is now trying to force on our applications? So normal applications that generate hundreds of documents need sandboxing to store local documents, which is hilarious in my opinion. And how did we get to sandboxing? In my opinion, recollecting the history, we got to sandboxing because companies like Microsoft, but also Apple and others, have for decades written totally insecure software, Windows, but also Mac, full with security issues, also a little bit the Linux kernel, but mostly Windows, certainly, Mac OS. And so they have their operating system insecure for years because can't write professional software on microkernels and stuff. And now they are forcing sandboxing on normal apps when the problem is not the app, the problem is insecure operating systems, like even Windows having even font rendering in the kernel and run a remote code execution for TrueType font parsing a couple of years ago and similar stuff. Even the Apple iPhone bootloader was broken recently in our, as we mentioned, our weekly IT news. So all those major operating system stuff is insecure. Instead of making their operating system insecure and their browser, the browser might be sandboxed. I actually would agree. Sandboxing can be helpful, like sandboxing the browser rendering engine, because certainly there is a quite large attack vector for random stuff from the web, or like your mail client for loading random spam stuff. But in my opinion, this is also not really the right application of sandboxing, to have each and every application sandbox, and each time the program generates a file like a scan or report. Of course, yes, our app is a little bit special that it's generating really many files. Of course, if you have a Minesweeper or a Tetris that's not even saving files and some Angry Birds or whatever Flappy Bird kind of game, then certainly sandboxing is a non-issue because it's basically writing 0 files. But for everything professional, doing a little bit more like saving a handful of files, even maybe scripted automatically, sandboxing just doesn't work so most amazingly. And yeah, so that is my 2 cents here for sandboxing. Let's see. Let's see. macOS Catalina now with included debug symbols. Not yet checked this, but Apple Dev. Hey Tim, Apple Catalina finally compiles without errors. Here, ship it. macOS Catalina now includes debugging symbols. I've not checked this. Max there, but whatever. Don't worry that users will test this here. A lot of people, Google Assistant also gets so many things wrong. And yeah, one thing I can say, we have so many people watching. So one thing, but theoretically, you see we're a little bit busy here. Theoretically, I also wanted to make an update on this Samsung stuff, which, fun fact, now my battery ran down because I didn't charge it for 2 days. Also 2 days battery life. But the one thing that is, I do not use this garbage of Bixby, don't even want to try Bixby. But the one thing that is relatively cool, I'm not even sure if Siri can do it. Don't use an iPhone much anymore. But one thing that is relatively cool is the Bixby alarm that is reading some news. So that is one cool feature actually, to wake up with some news summary. So hope to see you soon. Got a call.
If ever only that you will find this interesting and profitable to you, then maybe, sir, we can do business in the future. But if it's not, you can simply disregard this information. If
Yeah, I think I just
have a look.
Yeah, we don't even need this information. Thank you very much. We are not interested in your marketing services.
Okay, Mr. Webber, have a nice day.
Yes. Have a fantastic day. Yeah, we love you very much too. Okay, that was a super. You get a call from Singapore, and then it's some. marketing. Anyway, so we were through that. I thought it's something important because Singapore, you never know. But of course, only robo marketing call. Yeah. So yeah, actually, I thought I got a call. Anyway, so but we were mostly through. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon. That comes from ending a YouTube live stream for not amazing phone call. So yeah, but we were mostly through. Hope you enjoyed this summary. If you have any notes or feedback to this, leave me in the comments below. Always interested what you think. Do you find Catalina amazing? Did you find bugs? Do you find Siri amazing? Do you see stuff to improve? Do you think OS should be shipped like this or not? But yeah, as always, have an awesome day. We need to get some work done. Make a video for probably I make a parody and say, dear Apple review geniuses, here you take a scanner, here you plug the cable in, here you click on scan. Anyway, hope to see you soon. More stuff and amazing development and fun stuff to come.